Hello everyone, my name is Dmitry Rogozhny, and today we'll be looking at the links list web part. It is a supplementary web part for the links tree solution that we've already seen, and it renders a list of links that can be used to navigate to a particular category inside the links tree web part. So here you can see the links list web part, and I can select link, and it will navigate to the page with a links tree web part, and the selected category will be opened by default. And from here I can navigate in the same way as with the standard links tree web part. So before we'll take a look at the implementation details for the links list, let me quickly recap some functionality of the links tree web part that is used in this demo. So the links tree web part allows to navigate different categories. So I can select navigate or drill down categories that I'm interested in and access some content. And every time I select a category in the structure, the hash part of the URL changes. So this allows to keep track of the currently selected path. So for example, if I'll select a quick start, I can then copy this URL, and I can create a new page. Link to Outlook, and I can now insert this link, for example, in the text web part. So I will paste it here, and the text will be something like Outlook quick start, and I will save and save as draft. Okay, now I can select, now I've got this link, and if I'll click this link, the links tree web part will be opened with the quick start category selected by default. So this way we can prepare links and add them into some standard web parts, such as text web part, image, quick links. So anywhere where you can insert a link, you can provide a link to this to the links tree web part. And now let me go back to the links list web part, and let me show you how it works. So I will remove this one, and I will insert a new links list web part. So links list. So by default we don't have any information available, so we need to configure this web part. And for the configuration, it requires a list of categories to be displayed, and we can use the same JSON object to describe categories as we used for links tree. So I've got it prepared right here. Okay, and I will save. And as we only render the root level for categories, so we don't have to specify all the structure. And in addition to categories, we need to provide a target page. So that will be the page that we will redirect users on click. And for this one, I will use this knowledge base page. I will copy this link and I will paste it here. Okay, now we're ready. I can republish the page, and now we've got a list of categories with some description, and as you can see, the URL will be knowledge base SPX, and it will additionally contain additional path to a particular category. So if I'll select for example this one, it will be opened on the page with the links tree web part. So this way we can have this list of links prepared, and this way it's easier to manage these links, because for example, if we would like to use quick links, we will have to manually insert all these links ourselves, and this might save some time, and also it renders nicely, including the support for small screens. So if for small screens, if I'll make it smaller, you can see that it will render as one column list, and once it will get large enough, it will expand to 3 columns. Okay, that's it for the functionality. Now let's take a look at the implementation for this web part. So it is located in the same solution as the links tree web part that we've seen in the previous video. And so the links list web part, let me open it. The configuration part is contains 2 fields. So the get property pane configuration function. Here's we've got a field for the categories. It will be a code editor field, and the text field for the page URL. Okay, so the code editor, I'm using the PNP SPFX property controls package with reusable property pane controls to edit JSON for categories. And for text field, it's just the standard SharePoint framework field. Now for the render function, it takes the links list React component, provides some properties for it, and asks React to render. So for properties, we've got data provider, and I did an overview of this data provider in the review of the links tree web part. So it was the previous video. If you are interested, you can check it. Also, we pass the base URL, current display mode, and what should be done on configure. In the case if there's no categories defined, we will display a placeholder asking for a configuration, and this handler will open the property pane. Okay, as for the components, we've got a single component called links list, and this component, let's take a look at the render part. Here's the render function, and we can see that it checks for the available categories. If no categories available, it will render a placeholder component. And if I'll scroll up, you can see that this placeholder component comes from the PNP SPFX controls React package. So it's a set of reusable React components for SharePoint framework solutions. And now let's get back to the render. And if we do have categories available, then we will render the list. And inside this list, we will have separate categories as list items. So they will be rendered by this render categories function, which is right here. So it takes all the available categories, and for each category it will render a list item with some additional information, and there will be a link component inside it. Link component comes from the Office UI Fabric, so it is Office UI Fabric standard component. Okay, and as for the list of categories, we can look at the component did_mount function, and in this function we are calling getData, which takes the data provider specified in the properties and asks for the list of root components. And once they are available, we save them in the component state. This will force the rendering of the component, and when categories will be available, it will display a list of categories. So it's a really simple component, but it makes it easier to render a list of links, and it works nicely with the links tree web part. Okay, And that's it for today, and that's it for the links tree and links list web parts. And I will see you next time. Bye.